Our next presenting company is causing me to wish that I had a different pair of glasses on. Our next presenting company is called MyPermissions, and if they are ready to take the stage, then I would ask you to please welcome Olivier at MyPermissions.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Just quickly log in. Great. My name is Olivier Mar. I am CEO and co-founder of MyPermissions. We're extremely excited to be here presenting at LeWeb today, showing our new offering. But first, I want to give you guys a little bit of background about what we've been up to. So remember these things? It's where we used to store all our information, and then we used to protect them with antiviruses and firewalls. Well, the antiviruses and firewalls are still there, but our information is gone. It's all moved to the cloud. Our photos, our videos, our images, you name it, everything we do today, our contacts, our business information, everything has moved to the cloud. So basically, it all starts with one major question. What is privacy today? And we honestly believe that privacy today starts with one question. Who has access to your information on the cloud? So this is where, over the last year, we successfully positioned ourselves between users' personal information and the millions of apps and sites that connect to them. We did that by creating 3 great products. We created the MyPermissions Cleaner, a one-stop cross-platform service that helps users manage, monitor, and control access to their personal information. We added to that as it happens alerts to let users know when new apps connect to them. And we extended that to mobile to give users 24/7 access to that same information. And the consumers and the press have given us a lot of attention. They've shown us a lot of love. And we honestly believe that it's because we put their personal information back under their control. And since our soft launch back in August, there have been over 3.5 million manual permission scans. And we're already scanning the privacy and permissions information over 270,000 applications and websites. We know at any given time what the most trusted apps are. Our hundreds of thousands of users let us know in real time. It's basically our crowdsourced trust. That same crowd also lets us know how the apps that are removed, what are the apps that are removed and reported. But don't think that MyPermissions is one of those fanatical companies that tells you, do not track, do not share, do not connect. No, we love the web. We love to share, we love Facebook, we love Twitter, and most of all, we love the cloud. We know that the cloud is becoming more social, and that we've only scratched the surface of social apps. That being said, our unique perspective recently has shown us that as privacy concerns rise, less and less people are willing to click on the connect buttons. Users' lack of trust has really become a barrier. Our numbers show us that developers are losing up to and more than half the users who simply refuse to connect. Onavo let us know right here at LeWeb, in Paris actually, that the second biggest reason that people negatively rate and remove applications are excessive permissions. People actually feel violated, like they've been robbed. The privacy policies, which are supposed to offer clarity and transparency for users, do exactly the opposite. If we take the top 10 brands right now, if you were to use their products and wanted to know what you were getting into, you'd have to go through 89 pages of information, long legal information. Privacy has simply become too complicated. And that's why today here at LeWeb, we're really excited to be adding to the services that we ever offer, the MyPermissions certification program. It'll enable developers to power the next generation of social apps that are built on trust. Now, certification will be built around 3 core responsibilities for MyPermissions. 1, to certify the right companies. 2, to resolve conflicts and misunderstandings. And 3, continually to monitor not only that certified companies are complying, but to make sure these same companies are staying ahead of the privacy concerns that are always rushing into the news. Certified developers on their side are going to build trust by letting people know exactly what information they're requiring, why they're asking for it, and what they're doing with the information. They'll do that by displaying the MyPermissions certification badge, which will enable users to see that the developer offering is in line with the permissions they're asking for. And if the user needs more information, they'll be able to click through the badge and see specifically why the developer is asking for what he's doing in a very clear and simple way. Basically, gone are the days of birthday apps and flashlight apps that harvest your information and sell it to the highest bidder. Our certification program will also enable developers to respond to user issues and find out exactly which issues they need to improve upon and resolve them directly with the user to avoid unnecessary frustration on both sides. We're opening up a direct line of communication, and if need be, we can also help mediate the situation between users and developers. And finally, the payoff. What we've seen with developers that have been testing certification with us over the last couple of months is that conversions are up between 5 and 8%. Pre-optimization. Basically, with the badge, the users are clicking through. We've seen, the latest case study I got yesterday, sorry, I'll get back to the mic, showed that one of the companies testing with us, a monster video chat application, had 17% of the users that were exposed to the badge actually clicked on it and went and read the information. Then actually, the large majority of them actually came back and conversions were up 7.22%. It's amazing how much users are concerned about the permissions they're giving through, and they're showing it to us by how they're converting through our funnel. And by developers, we mean all developers.
It's amazing how quickly 6 minutes go, isn't it?
Can I have 10 seconds just to wrap up one slide?
Really fast, go.
I'm sorry. We're offering a tiered certification model that starts with certifying for free. Up until now, certification has had a huge barrier, price. If you're ready to pay and had lots of time, you could eventually get certified. We're changing that. We're offering basic certification for free so that all developers, small and large, can get certified and build trust. Guys, our lives have moved to the cloud. MyPermissions is going to help users, consumers, protect their privacy information, and developers build the next generation of social apps.
There you go, 10 seconds.
Under stress.
Very good. Bet you didn't know you could talk that fast. Why don't you grab that microphone so you're a little closer to our judges, but there you go, that'll do too.
Hi.
And Bindi, why don't you jump right in?
First of all, interesting product and solving a real need. So,
Thank you.
A nice one. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the team and the founders?
Sure, absolutely. Well, my co-founder is sitting right there, David Habusha. I'm going to start with him before I get to myself. David is one of the original founders of P2P software called iMesh. He's had a long history of product marketing with Symantec. Most recently, he was with Optier, helping people with database security. So there's a long history of startup and security. For myself, I've been in performance and online marketing for the last 8 years. I've worked with companies like the World Series of Poker, with Harrah's, with AIG, with Microsoft in Redmond, all these different companies, mostly on an outsourced basis, but with major contracts. And that's where we saw, listen, that same data now we're helping users protect is data that we used to use in most of these industries in order to market to them. And most of them involves personally identifiable information. And that's what we're playing, that's the big thing here. Aggregated data doesn't bother us so much. But when you get down to user information that we can track back to the direct user, that's where there's violations. And that's what the certification program is going to certify against.
Presumably, every platform has a different way to extract that information, right? So Facebook Connect will allow you to do certain things, the apps on iPhone and Android.
Right.
How do you kind of like put it in a homogeneous way? Because the level of information you can give back to the user about how their privacy is being invaded is going to, change a lot.
Right. Well, actually, this goes back to the product that we launched last year. When we were presenting it to users, we faced that exact same problem that, for instance, Facebook has 71 different permissions it asks for, Twitter has like 5, Dropbox has like 3, and how do we classify it? We actually created 6 categories of permissions that are based on groups, so photos and media, and email, and contacts, and basic information, and geolocation. And these categories, basically, these 71 permissions on Facebook basically all fell into these 6. And the same thing goes with all the other services, because the information is basically the same.
And there's APIs in Facebook for you to extract that information about
What's that?
Facebook has APIs to extract that information. So how do you extract it?
Well, basically, our product on the consumer side, When you log into it, you're logging directly through Facebook, and we're a cross-browser extension. So basically, we can go there in the background, get the information we need, and present it to you. We retain zero data about the user. It's all anonymized. And at any time, the user can log out and remove the extension once it's removed.
What about iPhone, Android?
On iPhone and Android, actually, we have something really exciting coming out next week. There are applications on iPhone and Android right now. They actually let you click directly through to the permission pages. The present application lets you click directly through to the permission pages on 9 different services. And like in the case of Twitter, Twitter doesn't have a mobile permission page. It's impossible to get down there. So we actually reformat the CSSs and give it to you in a way that lets you manage your permissions directly on those websites.
So could you confirm this is real time? So an application that was, that is saved today, you will reevaluate in an hour.
Right, that's what I said, that we're always checking for complying. Again, we leverage the crowd of our users. We do that because at any one time, they're pinging to make sure that there's no new applications that have connected information, because that's what we're warning about. But we're also seeing if the permissions have changed. And if at any one time the permissions have changed, that puts up a flag for us.
Very quickly, how are you monetizing this?
Well, the certification program, like I said, it's split. There's basic certification where we allow users to go through the process, become transparent, and they can have it for free. But in Q3 of this year, we're launching a much bigger platform to help developers actually optimize their entire funnel process and better understand their users.
So the developer pays.
The developer will pay for certification, but a premium certification. They'll always be able to certify for free, get the badge, and display that anywhere they have access to.
So if I understood the product correctly, then if I go and register with your website as a consumer, you're not going to know about all the apps that I already have installed and give permissions, etc.
I will.
It's only moving forward that you
No,
can start taking.
it's not ad hoc. When you connect that first time, and you log into Facebook, we actually go in the back, we go to the permission page, we take all that information, so we have a place to start with. We also, when you log in the first time, you see all the applications and sites that have access to your information, and you can trust them, report them, or remove them. So you have those 3 options, and after that first time where you've
That's
managed...
for Facebook, right? But what about the other platforms?
Right. They're all coming online next week through mobile. You guys, well, okay. Yeah, the mobile application, the new mobile is coming out next week, and it's much more.
Can you on iPhone actually do that? Can you go back and see all the apps that I've installed, which permissions I gave?
Not the applications that are on your phone, but definitely the applications that are on the cloud services, like Twitter, Facebook, Dropbox, Yahoo, Flickr.
All right, and with that question, we have come to the end of our time. Thank you very much, Olivier, and good luck to you in the competition and in the business. And we'll just take that back. Great. I'm going to give that to you. So we're going to have a quick moment while our team swaps out, and why don't you leave that and let the crew do that, since they know what needs to go where. And I'm going to have a chat with our judges, who are having a chat among themselves. Judges, hi, how are you? Good. So I know you're absorbing all of the information from the pitches that are coming in, but I'm curious on a couple of things. You actually, it's a great panel because you represent really different parts of sort of the ecosystem, if you will, from corporate to kind of, I think of the bank as kind of a service, but the financial services and obviously independent investment. What are you looking at, or what are you looking for in these companies, particularly if someone were going to try to game this competition a little bit and know how to get into your heads and impress you? What are you hoping to see? Yeah.
I guess it's a combination of a problem being solved, the right product being applied against the problem by the right team, and as an investor, looking for a business. So one of the questions that was raised here on monetization brings that question up. Is that an interesting product, but yet a feature, or is it moving to being a business? So all those together.
One thing I can add is when I see a company that is doing the same thing of all the 10 companies, but with a slight twist, I usually don't like them because it's going to be very difficult for consumers to decide one or the other. So I like things that do something new that almost no one is doing, or they're the first ones doing it, because that has a higher chance to be successful. When they go into space because it's just very popular and they think anyone can replicate it just by changing something, I usually try to stay away from that, unless they have a geographical advantage. Like they
So
play
really,
in one
really
place.
understanding, and I think this came up in one of the questions in the first pitch, was sort of what's the competitive landscape and how do you find the white space to be able to drive into that?
Yeah, and I echo that. Like for me, it really has to be a truly unique product. I think the other thing I would say is I always like to, get to know the founders and what they've done in the past and really assess the kind of passion they have to make this work, because it's never an easy journey. And, can these guys hang in there for the long haul? And you can usually tell.
Yeah, have the
You've got the
staying
gut
power.
feel, so.
The other thing is, many of them start sending out, this is the customer pain and this is when I'm going to solve it. And I've heard one, Steve Blank said to me that, if you're a painkiller, you need to determine whether you're an aspirin or a morphine. Because if you're an aspirin, it's not that interesting. If you're morphine, then it's really powerful. And many of the startups I see, they're features, not products, because what they're really is solving just something that someone else is not doing in their whole product, but they're not really like a new product that solves some big problem.
So powerful and addictive become important. Excellent.
Well, if it's a consumer app, right?
Well, a
Yeah, and
business is the same thing,
if it's a
right?
B2B
If
or
it's a
an
B2B,
enterprise,
it's the
then-
same.
yeah.
I mean, you need to be solving some big problem that people are not capable of solving today with something else. Otherwise, no one's going to pay
And
for
would like
it.
to pay for it
Yeah,
as
you
well.
have to be able to sell. If it's an enterprise software product, you have to be able to sell it to the end enterprise user, which can be sometimes a journey. So
That's why there's so many consumer companies and very few enterprises. Enterprise more challenging.
Absolutely. All right, well, we have two more companies in this session who now have maybe an unfair advantage in hearing what the judges are looking for, so I hope that is reflected in our final two presentations.